Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a super cute fall DIY fence sign. I picked up these garden fences from the dollar store, and as well I grabbed these MDF pumpkins and then these wooden garden labels here. So super excited to share this project with you. We're going to jump right into it. So let's get started. To begin my project, we're going to start out here with these Happy Thanksgiving pumpkins and some 80 grit sandpaper. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give these a really good sanding. They have a lot of glitter on them, so all the letters are completely glitterized, so we're going to use the sandpaper to get that off and get a nice smooth finish. You don't need to remove all the color, you just want to get rid of all the glitter. Now I got these pumpkins at my local Dollarama, but I'm sure you can find something very similar maybe from Dollar Tree. They are made of MDF, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to give them a nice coat of cheesecake from Country Chic paint. I'm using a foam pouncer here, and I'm just going to pounce on the paint. I love these foam pouncers from Country Chic paint. They have great coverage, can cover a lot of area at one time, and just make it so easy to paint with. So I'm going to go ahead and do one coat, let it dry, and then do a second coat and let that dry as well. Then I'm going to come in here with my garden fence. Again, this is from Dollarama as well. And we want to cut off the parts that poke into the ground. So I'm just going to take a pencil here and I'm going to mark evenly along with the other garden pegs that are already sticking down a little bit. You want to cut them off so they're even with the rest of them. I'm going to use my battery operated jigsaw here just to cut across the line that I made. Super easy. And then once we have that cut off, we're going to come in with a scrap 1x2 piece that I had laying around my craft studio. And you can see where I cut this edge here, it just sits nicely on the 1x2. So it actually kind of is perfect for this. I'm going to come in here with a stain color that I had. I believe this is dark walnut. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stain my 1x2 and let that dry. I decided to stain the fence as well because I wanted to get rid of that kind of cheap dollar store look. So I just went over it with the stain as well, and too so that it would match the 1x2. So painted all the pickets here of the fence and then rubbed the stain off as well. And then I'm going to let that fully dry too. After this, I'm going to come in with my Cricut Joy here and I'm just going to make some letters for the pumpkins. So I'm going to be just doing these in black permanent vinyl. I thought that I was going to put the letters on directly, but I did end up changing my mind and I decided to use the vinyl as a stencil and keep with a painting theme rather than having that vinyl look to this sign. But you could do either or. If you don't have a Cricut cutting machine, you could also just find stencils as well, maybe at your local dollar store or your local craft store, and you could paint on the letters using a stencil. So I'm going to go ahead and let the Cricut cut out my letters here, and then once they're done, I'm going to repeat the process for the remaining pumpkins, and we're going to spell out the word fall. So I'm going to go ahead and weed my designs, and then I'm going to use some transfer tape here and I'm just going to put it over top of the letter, and then I'm going to smooth that out and peel off the transfer tape from the design. So I'm just smoothing it out here, getting rid of any air bubbles. And then once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and remove the design from the backer sheet. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to place it on our pumpkin. Now, if you've never done stenciling with Cricut before, it's super easy. And I actually enjoy doing the stenciling and painting rather than actually using the vinyl itself. It's kind of my go-to thing. So I'm going to remove the transfer tape here, you can see, and then we're going to come in with a stencil brush and just some black acrylic paint, and we're just going to dab on over the stencil. Now it's very important, if you don't want bleed through, to do that dabbing motion rather than brushing the paint on, because you don't want the bristles to go underneath of the vinyl. So once that's done here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the vinyl. And then as well, I just have to remove these little areas in between the F. It's just this particular font that I chose, that we have these nice little decorative lines in the middle. And once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process with the remaining pumpkins and the remaining letters of fall. I'm going to come in here now and I'm going to attach my fence to my 1x2 using a Ryobi air nailer. So I just line it up and then just a couple quick nails in the bottom through the back of the fence and into the 1x2. You could also drill pilot holes and screw this in, but an air nailer is much easier. To distress my fall pumpkin letters a little bit, I'm going to come in with this Country Chic Paint black wax, and I'm going to also do the edges since these are going to be seen, and then I'm going to rub just a little bit of the black wax onto the fronts of the pumpkins. They were just a little too clean and polished for me, and I wanted this to have this like primitive country look, so I want to distress them up just a bit. So I'm doing that just by rubbing a little bit of black wax all over the edges of the pumpkin and then just bringing a few strokes down over the letters. Once they're dried, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to nail these in place, and super easy to do with an air nailer. Just nail through the back of the fence and into the pumpkin. And I'm kind of overlapping them one over another, just kind of hugging them nice and close and overlapping them so that they're all touching. So you can see here I have some raised and some back. Then we're going to come in with these wooden plant labels. So you can find these in the garden section of Dollarama. And I'm going to be cutting off the tip of the wooden plant label. So I've made my first piece here as my guide. And then I'm just going to make a mark with my pencil. And these are super easy to cut. I just use an X-Acto knife to kind of score it. And then once I've done that, they just snap right off. So super easy. I'm going to repeat this process 5 times so that I have 5 of these. So doing the same thing again, marking and then using my X-Acto knife just to score it and then break it. So once I have my 5 pieces of these here, we're going to come in with some acrylic paint, and I've just picked a nice fall color here. This one is actually from DecoArt and I believe it's rust color. And we're going to just go ahead and we're going to paint these all up, making sure to get the sides of the little pieces that we cut. Once those are dry, I'm going to come in with white wax now, and I'm going to rub it all over the fronts and the sides. I kind of wanted to dull down the color just a bit, and again, since we're going with a primitive rustic look, I want to kind of make these not look dirty, but almost look like they're a little bit faded. So once I have that done and then the wax is completely dry, you just let it dry for a couple hours onto the pendants. I'm going to come in with these rubber stamps that I have and a little bit of black acrylic paint and just dab it on with a foam pouncer and then push the letter into my little pieces here. And then you can see there's the little letter, and then I'm going to continue on until I've done all of them. And what I'm doing here is I'm spelling out hello. So again, I just use my little rubber stamps with the foam pouncer and rub it on. If you had an ink pad, you could do this, but I really wanted this to hold up, so I decided to use acrylic paint instead of ink, and they're also more prominent. Then I'm going to come in with some hot glue and a piece of twine, and on the top of my wooden label here, I'm going to push it right into the twine. So holding it on until the glue sets. I didn't want the twine behind, I wanted it directly on top. And what I'm doing here is I'm just making like a little wooden pendant banner. And I thought it would look better if they were hanging down from the twine rather than glued on from the back side. So once I have them all glued in place, I'm going to take my little pendant banner here and I'm going to add it to my piece. So just over here, right directly beside the pumpkins, I'm going to layer it on using some hot glue to put the twine in place. And then as well, I also decided to, in conjunction with the hot glue, I added in some rusty finishing nails just to give it that rustic look. And then here is my finished fall fence sign. I am so happy with how this turned out, and this is just some vision that I had in my head, but it looks so great with the rest of my primitives here. And I'm so happy with how this turned out. So again, the majority of these items are all from the dollar store. I'm hoping that you can find these in your dollar stores and recreate this project, or at the very least, I hope that this has inspired you to get creative with dollar store items and create something fun for fall for your home. If you have any questions about this project, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I would love to answer those for you. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please don't be shy. Hit that subscribe button and the like button, and that way you don't miss out on any future videos. I have a lot of fall DIYs coming up, and I can't wait to share those with you. Thanks so much for tuning into this video, and we'll see you again real soon.